this video, I used the true ancient Bantu name of the creator, Sonini Nanini, and his Messiah, Msindisi. Their names are written in Xhosa dialect, which is the same Bantu language written in Matthew 27 verse 46 and Daniel 5 verse 25. Note, the translators could not interpret these two verses in the Bible, therefore, the meaning they provided is inaccurate. There's enough evidence presented as to who's really behind the manipulation of the scriptures. We know spiritually it's Satan, Lucifer, and his angels. However, in our physical world, Satan has tasked agents such as the Vatican to take what we thought was the divine word of Sonini Nanini and turn it into a book that can't be trusted. Didn't Satan plant a forbidden tree amongst all the trees that were good to eat in the garden? Was it not his game plan for us to not trust and believe in Sonini Nanini from the very beginning? If he entered the garden to deceive Adam and Eve, surely he would deceive the whole world again through altering the scriptures of the most read book in human history. So, who is this Jesus Christ that has positioned himself equal to Sonini Nanini, our creator? And what role did the true Messiah, Msindisi, play in the New Testament? Let's investigate 7 cases to uncover the witchcraft spells the wizards of Rome created to find the true Messiah. If you haven't taken notice, it appears to be 2 messiahs with 2 different missions written within the New Testament Bible. As unbelievable as this may sound, it is in fact so presented in such a manner that even the most astute of theologians would not recognize the sorcery at play within the English language. I don't know about you, but I've researched and reviewed numerous biblical records to come to this one definite conclusion. The entire world is under demonic spells initiated by the powers that be. The New Testament portrays a Messiah who appeared to fulfill Old Testament prophecies, but, as you search deeper within the context, this Messiah does not first carry the DNA of a Bantu, a Negro, nor is he the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He is altogether a replica imagery that was given to the world. His story was copied from ancient Bantu scrolls, nonetheless with drastic changes. He's given a European identity, and his demeanor is meek and kind, which established the fundamental attribute of Christianity. But there's a Messiah of a much different DNA that contains the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This militant Bantu Messiah followed no religion but adhered to the Mosaic law of Sonini Nanini. His missions campaign was so revolutionary it became a threat to Rome. On one hand there was the Greco-Roman pantheon religions of the ruling class demanding worship as gods, and on the other an uprising emerged, headed by Msindisi, who opposed Rome's deistic philosophy and all religions. Nearly 3 centuries later, Roman Emperor Constantine paved the way for religions of Christianity, Judaism, Greek and Egyptian mythology to merge into one belief system, choosing Christianity as a political move to bring peace to a divided Rome. This amalgamation of religions is called covert syncretism. So, what does covert syncretism mean? Covert syncretism is the integration of different beliefs or covert syncretic belief practices, so to speak, are obscured either intentionally or unintentionally. On the one hand, when the concealment of such practices is intended, knowledge of their presence is strictly limited to an individual, a select few, or a secret group. The sole purpose of Rome, which eventually became Vatican State, was to assimilate their pagan practices with Christianity, which essentially became the official religion of Rome under the rule of Emperor Constantine in 325 AD. Its ultimate purpose was to take true worship from Sonini Nanini and apply it to their gods. How did they do it? They accomplished this through covert syncretism. Let's listen to a reliable source that can explain just how Roman Emperor Constantine the Great formed a new perpetual ideology for the Christian religion in 325 AD. This ideology is still being worshipped and honored without reservation by billions today.
Isn't he telling us what everybody thinks are winners are really losers? And me, I'm the real winner. At the end of the day, I'm going to refashion the world in a way that Hadrian, Trajan, and Marcus Aurelius could not even imagine.
I would agree with you that Constantine would have been very happy if people looking at his arch had been able to take away the message that he is going to supersede the legacy of even Rome's best previous emperors.
But how was he going to do that? The answer may lie at the very top of the arch. Here, there is an inscription, and it states in Latin, Instinctu Divinitatis, which describes Constantine as divinely inspired. But if it's not Jesus who's inspiring him, which God is? When looking at what's depicted on his arch, what we find are pagan gods from the Roman pantheon, and none so prominently rendered as the sun god Apollo.
The light is amazing.
And it's so appropriate with the rising of the sun god right there to have it illuminated by the sun this way.
Before Constantine's alleged vision, he followed the official religion of the Roman Empire, the imperial cult, a pagan religion that worshipped Apollo above all else. Much like the pagan god Mithras, Apollo was the sun god that represented the light of creation. According to the imperial cult, Constantine, as emperor, was a superhuman avatar, the link between Apollo and the rest of humanity. And from the archaeology, it's clear that Constantine bought into this idea completely. He commissioned this 12-meter statue of himself. And not surprisingly, the statue came with an enormous head. Built into the statue's healthy hairline may be evidence that Constantine believed he was more than a mere representative of Apollo.
There are dowel holes that certainly were for some kind of insert, and it seems likely that it was for a rayed crown.
That's not Christian to me. To me, that's saying, I am God.
Right. There's absolutely no humility in any of Constantine's self-fashioning. I mean, he's very happy to have a 40-foot-tall statue of himself looming over this space in the center of Rome. He allows cities in the north of Italy to erect cults to his family, to worship him as a god.
He's aloof, he's giant, and he's godlike.
Yes, he's superhuman. He is superhuman.
The image of Constantine with sun rays emanating from his head not only matches the earliest images of Apollo, it also matches the iconography of Mithras. And is it just coincidence that Christian art begins to depict Jesus the same way, with a halo of light around his head? Or was Constantine combining all the gods of light into one? When Constantine claimed to have had a vision of the Milvian Bridge, which religion was Constantine truly embracing? Did Constantine abandon paganism for Christianity? Or did he blend Apollo and Mithras into Jesus Christ, and then refashion all three in his own image? As it turns out, when Constantine had his arch built, he topped it off with a bronze portrait of himself. Destroyed in antiquity, this statue depicted him riding the same kind of chariot as Apollo, seemingly taking off into sunny skies. Constantine is known to history as the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity, legalize it, and thereby change the world. But the archaeology he left behind suggests an alternative history. His triumphal arch is covered with pagan symbols, and from the statues he erected of himself, it seems that Constantine not only worshipped pagan gods, he saw himself as having a special relationship with them.
If Constantine saw himself as divinely ordained, he would have seen his reign as a new founding. He would have believed that he was responsible for changing the course of human history. And the new founding needs a new capital. Rome would no longer do. So he went to what is today Istanbul in modern-day Turkey, and he founded a new capital for his new empire. He didn't name it after Jesus or the apostles. Rather, he stayed true to his nature, and he named it after himself. He called the new city Constantinople.
He left Rome, and he certainly never returned there again. Settled on this incomparable site. It bridges the two continents. It's strategically and tactically located in virtually an ideal position, easily defended. And I think he wanted a monument to himself. He wanted his own city with his own imprint on it.
Despite Constantine's reputation as the first Christian emperor, the most dominant feature of Constantinople's skyline was not a Christian church, but a giant column that was once topped by a huge bronze statue of the sun god, Apollo. The statue is long gone, and the column is under renovation. But at the time of Constantine, people were worshiping the sun god here.
When the city was built, this was a big plaza or forum, and that column was in the center of it. It's about 100 feet in the air. What's significant about it is that in subsequent years, Christian bishops and theologians were very upset about the fact that the people of Constantinople conducted divine services here.
And yet, Constantine's statue of Apollo was not like other pagan images. He did make a slight modification to it. He replaced Apollo's face with his own.
But what's even better is the tradition continues that in this statue, he put a relic of the true cross. So he's attaching relics of Jesus to, or inserting them in this statue.
So he erects a statue of himself, and this statue depicts him as Apollo, but for good measure, we've got a little bit of the true cross mixed in.
Yes.
Did Constantine pull off the greatest hoax of all time by pretending to be a Christian? Was he actually equating himself with both Apollo and Jesus? Or did he merely see himself as their special emissary?
Rome used covert syncretism to transfer the identity of the unconquered son of Apollo to Jesus Christ, while completely erasing any true historical accounts of the true Messiah Msindisi. The warlocks of their day carefully guarded and blended religious beliefs and practices that were not openly revealed to outsiders or at times understood by some of its own practitioners. Such blended beliefs or practices, thus, become a subculture, working discreetly towards maintaining a unique identity, and intentionally or unintentionally remaining hidden from scrutiny. This type of practice paved the way for religions such as Islam and others. It is the very reason why the Bantu tribes or the so-called children of Israel, had to flee to different parts of Africa to preserve the ways of their ancestors who worshipped Sonini Nanini. It's been nearly 1,700 years today since Rome switched Sol Invictus to a white messiah called Jesus Christ. Though it is an invention by Rome, they hired two well-known artists named Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci to paint and sculpture objects portraying Christ as the Savior of the world. This was a massive transformation of true Bantu knowledge being overhauled and rewritten during a period called the Renaissance period, a period between the heyday of medieval universalism, as embodied in the papacy and Holy Roman Empire, and the convulsions and sweeping transformations of the 17th century, only to resurface today as the world's largest religious group on earth. Rome is the Holy Roman Catholic Church. They are the legs of iron, feet part of iron and part of clay in Daniel 2 verse 33. It is the same seeds of Cain and Lucifer who have a history of enslaving, murdering, stealing, supplanting, and colonizing Sonini Nanini's chosen people, including Msindisi. In their culture, death of the innocent is their life source and pillage of others allowed them great wealth. These people have an unquenchable bloodthirsty appetite to destroy the Bantu people and anything representing Sonini Nanini. They fear a prophecy regarding their demise as world rulers and the ushering in of the righteous king of the earth. What I've found hidden within the occult world was a manifestation of these wicked attributes. Attributes that are similar in nature as Baal worship and essentially the ritual communion of Jesus Christ. These evil perpetrators have established 12 philosophies of the ancient death cult of Baal that goes back to a time of the days of Noah. Each of these ideas are taken as a blood oath from generation to generation. Let's uncover some of their sinister schemas which are hidden from the world populace. Baal is the storm god of ancient Mesopotamia, worshipped by dark solar cults throughout the ages. The sky, war, and fertility are considered his domain. The word Baal is both a proper name and an honorific title meaning Lord or Master that has been attached to several deities. 2. Sacrifice, worship of Baal, under several different names over time, has been strongly associated with the practice of blood sacrifice, human sacrifice, and child sacrifice. The offering of one's firstborn is considered the highest form of worship, and the most potent form of magic ritual at the disposal of the Baalist. There are logistical and opportunistic motivations involved in this practice as well, i.e., cannibalism. 3. Archetypes. Deities follow common archetypes, reoccurring models that are sequentially renamed from one culture to the next, though they may gain or lose various attributes. This is most evident when comparing the Greek and Roman pantheons, but can be applied to every Western religion from modern Christianity to ancient Sumerian. 4. Religion. All three Abrahamic religions are founded on Baalism. The priesthood has created the divisions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam to continue their human sacrifice rituals perpetually through religious persecution and endless war. 3 sects of tyrannical monotheism, all modeled after ancient agonist sun worship. The god of the cult of Baal is a sadist of the highest order. The dark cults. Every mystery school of esoteric knowledge has its inversion. There are both light and dark variants of Freemasonry, Kabbalah, Luciferianism, and every society or organization presented in this diagram. The focus of this examination is predominantly on the negative faction, which happens to be dominant throughout history, in power not in numbers. 6. Satanism. The Satanist is not confined to worshipping one central deity, but is devoted to an ideology of self-deification and the pursuit of self-interest above morality. Do what thou wilt, is their motto. The cult actively seeks out individuals with a tendency towards narcissism and psychopathy to join their ranks. 7. Magic. Luciferians follow the same satanic ideology, but have been taught the deepest metaphysical secrets, and have access through magic ritual to a pantheon of demonic entities. Many within the cult are likely controlled by non-physical or negative alien entities. This control is exerted through both direct communication channels and voluntary or involuntary possession. 8. Domination. As a result of their service to self-ideology, infighting and betrayal is rampant within the various sects of the cult. Still, they manage to cooperate enough to unite on the shared goal of subjugating the general peace-loving population. Their goal is totalitarian control, and to be both invincible and invisible. They seek to be the gods of a world that's of their own creation, in brazen defiance of the natural law of the universe. 9. Hierarchy. Supremacy through domination leads to the creation of hierarchy, which is imposed on all levels of society within and outside of the cult. Knowledge is compartmentalized and withheld in accordance to the hierarchy. Even the majority of the members within these sects are kept in the dark as to the secrets of the highest order. X. Deception. Ambition for domination, combined with the absence of morality, makes the art of deception a key value in the cult. Catholicism is centered on the Roman two-faced god of gods, Janus, representing the two-faced nature of the Vatican, which is satanic at its core. The Vatican is so inundated with pagan symbolism and blatant contradictions within its selected scriptures, that reality is literally inverted for the honest believer. They worship death. The cross is a plain demonstration of human sacrifice worship, yet counterintuitive justifications have been canonized to disguise the obvious. 11. Symbolism. Words are spells, and art is a form of magic. The cult's continued worship of Baal is demonstrated in the prevalence of bills, balls, and beliefs in modern culture, all words derived from Baal. Our monetary, political, and judicial systems, professional sports, and all fans of corporate-driven entertainment openly parade Baalist satanic symbolism in front of oblivious audiences on a daily basis. 12. Banking. Occultists practicing Babylonian money magic have been impeding humanity's development, imposing an endless dark age on Earth, and preventing Atlantean free energy technology from re-emerging. They have created the monetary banking system to enrich themselves and keep humanity enslaved. Who are they? The seed of Cain, for he was a murderer from the beginning. They're the holders of global wealth, yet they maintain the majority die in hunger and disease. It is the banking businesses and corporate typhoons who are partners in exploitation of child sex trafficking. They are monsters snatching our innocent children for their blood sacrifices to their gods. As with their father, Lucifer, and their brother Cain, they have taken the ancient knowledge of Sonini Nanini and rewrote our history, culture, and spirituality and gave us Babylonian-based religions to hide their identity and the identity of the Bantu people, the so-called children of Isilil. It is covert syncretism 2.0. So, as long as they give us religion to pacify us, we will remain in sin and in captivity. I want to awaken the Bantu, the Negro, the black and brown people of Sonini Nanini that they've been duped, yet again. The reigning Son of God or the King of Kings will not be revealed until he gathers all 12 tribes from the 4 corners of the earth unto himself and rule as king in the New Jerusalem. So, who came over 2,000 years ago? And how can we be sure the Son of God has not come yet? He said to me, just as no one can explore or know what is in the depths of the sea, so no one on earth can see my Son or those who are with him, except in the time of his day. 2 Esdras 13:52. Lay up in your heart the signs that I have shown you, the dreams that you have seen, and the interpretations that you have heard. For you shall be taken up from among men, and henceforth you shall live with my Son and with those who are like you, until the times are ended. 2 Esdras 14:8-9. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion, and glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Daniel 7 verses 13-14. If Sonini Nanini, noted as the Ancient of Days, is speaking to Esdras and Daniel about his son, how is it possible for Jesus Christ to be God in the flesh? And if the Son of Man is hidden until the time of his day, which will be after the second Exodus, or the War of Armageddon, then who came as the Son of God over 2,000 years ago? Did Msindisi confess that he was actually the Son of God? Or was there a manipulation of Scripture inserted in the Gospel? What was Rome's global objective in their pursuit to rule the world? You can find these answers in the next video called Case Number 2, The Great Commission.